Today I'm gonna explain to you guys why you should stop transcribing solos unless you like wasting your times. Yes, I said it. Transcribing solos is a waste of time. Come at me. You will. I'm sure you will. I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn a lick that you like. And I'm not saying that if you really are into it, you should never learn a solo. You can. I'm just saying that people seem to think that it's the be-all end-all of learning how to play, especially jazz. And it's not. The first and most obvious thing to me is that look at people that did it. There are so many people on YouTube that transcribe the craziest solos. Usually it's the same solos. Usually it's Coltrane Giant Steps or Countdown and like Michael Brecker, some Skunk Funk from Barcelona, right? Great solos. But when you listen to this people play, and I'm gonna call one person out. I usually don't like calling specific people out because I don't have anything against them and it's kind of mean. But there is one guy that plays recorder and it's the craziest thing because he transcribed the craziest solos on every instrument on recorder. And you're like, Jesus, this is like the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. But when you hear him play recorder by himself, and it is not the craziest thing. The only craziest thing about it is that somebody actually thinks that he should play recorder for people. That's kind of psychotic, but it's not the good crazy. So, I like that guy. And also I would say that I tried to get him years ago to transcribe one of my solos, and he didn't want to. Because I was like, dude, this would be viral. But he didn't want to. There are a lot of people already that transcribed a ton of crazy solos, and they don't sound that good. So you can see the future. They already spent a billion gazillion hours transcribing solos, and then when they play their own solos, it's not that good. So we know that doesn't work. So proof is in the pudding. One. Second, the best soloists in jazz, in the history of the universe of the world when jazz started 100 years ago, they could not transcribe solos. There was nobody to transcribe, and they used to listen to music on records or on the radio. So they couldn't use amazing slowdowner, they couldn't listen to stuff again and again, they couldn't stop every measure, right? So we know for a fact, Sonny Stitt, Cannonball Adderley, Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Dexter Gordon, Oscar Peterson, all those people, they would listen to people and would try to figure stuff out, but and which I'll get to at the end of this video, what you actually should do, but they didn't sit down and transcribe all those people. Definitely not to the level that people do today. And lo and behold, they're amazing musicians. So there is a way to be a good musician, but transcribing is not the way. I would say that philosophically, the problem with transcribing, the big problem that I have with transcribing is that you focus on the least important part of the solo, which is the notes. The notes are like everybody plays more or less the same notes. That's one of the secrets. Especially if you look at the style, like there are different levels of dissonance, and I kind of explain it in my video, the 3 situations in jazz and how to play every jazz standard. So press on that. But more or less everybody plays the same thing note-wise. They play different rhythms, they have different sounds, different articulations. They approach things completely differently, right? And they have some different lines, but it's a bigger thing than just looking at the notes. I will tell you a story. One of our past bassists was learning the Jaco solo, was transcribing the Jaco Pastoria solo from Donna Lee. And and I was like, can I look at it? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And I looked at it, and he had this one measure that every 2 notes were a different scale. And this is alter, now he's going to diminish, now he's going to mixolydian, now he's going to mixolydian sharp. And I'm like, dude, it's blues scale for the entire measure. And he was like, oh yeah. Yeah, because I'm just saying, there are the things, it's not that there is nothing to learn without notes to play, but there are things that people do and that they use, and we all kind of use the same thing. And it's just the way it is. If there is something that sticks out to you, then yeah, sure, learn it. But when you listen to most solos, people have their style, and nothing sticks out. And I also know it from students that came to me after transcribing my solos, and they're like, what did you think about this? What do you think about this? And I was like, dude, it's just one solo I played on this song. I played this song 1,000 times. And you can hear different versions of a song, and I do something different, but it still sounds like me playing that song. Right? And that's the main thing. It still sounds like me because I use the same tool, I use the same sound, I use the same, again, it's the same song, but it's like I have my style of playing. And if you think I don't like analyzing myself, but I'm gonna give you guys one of my secrets. It's one of my big secrets. It's one of the things that I do that I actually learned from an Israeli saxophone player by listening to him, right? He didn't tell me, but listening to him, and it's one thing that I do in almost all my solos. The peak of my solos is always a slow melodic thing. So I go crazy, but to me the peak is always bringing it home to something slow and simple, right? And if you transcribe my solo, one solo, you're gonna miss it. But if you just listen to me very carefully, you would actually maybe figure it out if you really pay attention after a while. And that's another thing. It's like, to me, if you spend 20 hours listening to a solo note by note, yeah, you're gonna learn some stuff, but you would learn more if you spend those 20 hours just listening to the solo and repeat, honestly. You're gonna start figuring out and noticing things about the solo that you won't understand when you transcribe it note by note, because it's not musical. And then when you're gonna start playing it, you're gonna start focusing on your playing. And then when you play it over the other saxophone player or other musician, you're gonna miss a lot of the intricacies, because you're gonna hear yourself, blocking the sound of the person that you're playing with, right? So it's not the best way to learn from people. So what is the best way, in my estimation, to learn from other musicians? I think that something that you should get good at and you should learn is how to imitate people. What do I mean? I mean, like, I'm talking now. So you don't need, if you want to learn how to speak like me with my sexy Israeli accent, you don't need to learn every word I said and every pause I made in this video, right? You can just make an impression of my accent. You can figure out how I say my R's, how I say my vowels, whatever, and then you can just speak like me in my good accent and get all the boys to come to the yard for your milkshake. Or all the women, depends what you like. Or all the in between, or all the other sides of the spectrum, whatever you like. So, but whatever it is, I'm sure an Israeli accent will bring it out for the milkshake. So you should do the same with saxophone players. I don't know, I'm talking about saxophone, but you should do the same with musicians. Like, if I listen to Coltrane, I can give you a pretty good impression of Coltrane. It doesn't sound like Coltrane, but it sounds like somebody doing an impression of Coltrane. It sounds like a good impression, and that's something I really recommend people do, So let me recap. Transcribe and learn specific licks that stands out to you, right? And if an entire solo stands out, sure, transcribe it. But it's better to focus on things that pop out to you. And it's better to focus on stuff generally speaking. So it's like, if you have a lot of takes, for example, like, listen to the rhythms that people are playing and be like, oh, he plays a lot of eighth notes, plays his eighth notes this way. He plays a lot of 16th notes. I like the way that he goes. We were playing, and Nick was noticing that I do a lot of things that I go from a fast subdivision to a slow subdivision in the middle of my line. And that's something that not a lot of people do, and so it's like, notice things like that about their playing. So do a lot of listening, but less transcribing. You feel like you're doing something and it's very time consuming, and in schools they tell you to do it because it's a big body of work that they can be like, look, you did something, aren't you happy that you paid all this money to be in school? We made you transcribe this solo. But it's really not that useful. So now I saved you so many hours so you can watch more of our videos. But how would you know when our videos come out? By liking and subscribing. How do we make these videos? By you guys going on Patreon and $5 goes a long way, but $10 go double the way, and $15 3 times the way, and $20 4 times the way, $25 5 times the way, and $30 6 times the way. So do that, and see you next time.